Hello, I'm Helen Cummins, and this is Mallorca Living, a space dedicated to those who are dreaming of making Mallorca their home. Today I'm here with Trevor and Judy Hill from the US. We're going to talk to them about their journey to Mallorca, which started on a boat, arriving here this time last year, and finally choosing to live in Alaró. Trevor and Judy, you're very welcome. Delighted you could be here.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
So I've been looking forward to this podcast for a long time because I really feel you have a unique story to share with our listeners. And that story started some years ago when you decided to leave your normal life, let's say, and spend more than 6 years living on a boat, right?
Yeah.
Traveling
right.
the world. So tell us, where did that decision come from?
You go ahead.
I think Trevor's been blamed now for this decision.
Well, it probably started 20 years ago, really.
Really?
Almost. During the financial crisis in the world.
In 2008.
In 2008, yeah, I was working in corporate America and not having a lot of fun at that particular moment. And I used to take pictures out of the Oyster calendar, which is a yacht we'll talk about in a moment here, and put them up on my wall and daydream
Really?
about getting through the financial crisis. And I thought if I ever made it out, we would go sailing.
Okay.
So
were you self-employed at that point?
I was, yeah.
You were self-employed. And of course, I want to say you're Canadian originally,
Yeah.
but you've lived many years in the US.
Yeah,
right?
we moved in 2000 to the US, and we spent 20 years or so living there
And where in the US were you based?
in Phoenix.
In Phoenix,
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Very good. What was your business when you were in the US in this moment?
Yeah, we owned utility companies,
Okay.
water and wastewater utilities.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult time to survive through the financial crisis.
Yeah, for everyone.
Of course. I remember those
think.
days.
Yeah.
It was a real moment where we didn't know if we were going to come out the other side of
Yeah,
it either. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there was many people daydreaming about doing something else, anything else at that time.
But obviously you must have already had a passion for sailing and boating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to take our kids on family vacations. I grew up in Vancouver, so we would sail as kids and sail in the Gulf Islands in the summers and charter boats and sail all through those fantastic areas. And then when we moved to Phoenix, we sailed, relatively seldom. It's not a sailing mecca. Yeah.
Would you have called yourself a competent sailor at that point?
I think competent from a sailing dinghies perspective,
Okay.
but a long way from being competent sailors of the boat we eventually bought
have grown or evolved.
Yeah.
Judy, how did it feel to you when Trevor announced, well, let's kind of sell up our life here and start moving?
No, I mean, I was 100% in, it was exciting. We'd, as he said, done a lot of sailing, so I was familiar. But I was the girl with the glass of rosé, not the handling of the rope. So it was a great opportunity to learn a whole new world and new challenges for myself. So it was exciting. It was good.
What was the most difficult thing to give up from your normal life?
I think friendships, because we had great friends, and our kids were kind of launched, in university, and we felt that it was a good time, but we would probably miss a lot of the friends. But in the end, a lot of the friends kind of defined us,
Different parts of the world.
Yeah. So that was good.
Can you describe to us just a little bit where the journey took you from those early days of when you left Arizona?
Yeah.
Well, in 2018, I had the chance to, the 10 years after the crisis, had dug ourselves out of that and had a chance to leave the corporate America And so we decided then to buy a boat, and really it was driven by our interest in sailing around the world, and to do that it narrows down the number of boats you can really choose. You need a particular kind of blue water sailing boat. And it just so happened that the kind we bought, an Oyster, they were advertising for what they called the Oyster World Rally, which
I've heard of this.
which is to bring together 25 or 30 similar boats, and it turns out similar people to sail around the world together, and that appealed to us.
It's amazing concept, isn't it?
Amazing
because
concept.
You're joining a whole lifestyle, right? It's a whole community of people, and of course, you probably felt more supported and guided to be part of that rather than try to do it solo.
That's right. Yeah, there was a lot that we didn't know, and we thought it would be a nice way to do it. It turned out to be a great way to do it, better than we expected.
And people from everywhere, all over the world. So you've made all these new friends that are from all these different countries, and we all have this common thing together. Yeah. So it made such great friends, really, that was unexpected from that. We hadn't planned that, so it was really nice.
So how does it work with the World Rally? Do you follow a particular route? Do you all leave together? How does it work?
Yeah, it does. There's really they put a date on the calendar. You know, in our case, it was the 9th of January 2022, which all seems a little bit long ago now. But to get to that date takes a few years to get ready. You've got to buy your boat, and then in our case, we hired some people to train us, and an instructor full-time to take us from our rudimentary sailing experience to super yacht sailing, blue water sailing, which is quite different.
So were you dedicated to that pretty much 100% then?
Almost 9 months of that to get our tickets and train ourselves up in basically what is for many people a whole new career. You know, to be crew competent, to be insurable as the people driving this yacht.
We wanted to participate. You know, we wanted to be very active, and so it was more of a team feeling on our boat because we were working as hard as everybody else, right? But that's because we wanted to have that experience of actually doing it. You know, so that was.
How many people were you?
We had 5.
You had 5 of you. But then in more recent years, you've actually been pretty much
on our own.
On your own.
Yeah. So after the rally, we no longer needed the crew, and we've sailed it on our own. Sometimes we have a cousin who joins us, but most time it's just us two, which is challenging and rewarding as well. So it's good. Yeah.
Wow. So when did you arrive in Mallorca then? Your first time in Mallorca was just last year, or had you been already?
No, we'd come a few times actually. But even before we bought this boat, we had been here in 16 and 17, looking at boats and sort of was amazed by the island then. And the city and it was the mecca for sailing for the Med.
It is really,
and so
the biggest hub, right?
Biggest hub, yeah. It really has been historically for hundreds of years. So there's a lot of culture around sailing and the proximity to spectacular sailing. It's if you're going to sail in the Med, this is the place to do it from. And so we had come and really loved the city and the island, and had a chance to explore a bit, over the years. We actually bought our boat here.
Oh, really?
In 20
through the Oyster agency that was here on the island.
Actually, no. I by that point in my OCD distraction, I was tracking all the oysters that I thought would be interesting or suitable for our adventure. And then we'd found one that we thought would be a good one, And I actually visited it one time on business in Australia, and then we chartered it in Croatia, and then again in the Caribbean, and stalked the owner for many years, and then finally made a deal in 2018. Yeah. So.
Super.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an accident that you found your boat that you've now had so many. Yeah.
For us, it was like trying to figure out a boat that we could still manage ourselves, but was big enough to be comfortable enough to, make the.
I've seen your boat. I've been on your boat. It's amazing. What's the name of your boat again?
It's called Intrepid.
Intrepid. That's it. Yeah, it's spectacular.
Yeah, it's been good. Been good to us. Yeah.
What was it like for the two of you with your relationship for, in such a confined space for such a long period of time?
I think it's been good because we've become a team, because we each have different roles on the boat and different responsibilities, and we depend on each other for both those things, right? So you can't really sail it by yourself. We need to have each of us, and we just can do different things. So really, it's been really nice, and the boat's big enough, really. So if we need some space, we can have the space. But yeah, so it's been, I think, a good thing.
And have your children joined you along the way?
Yes, they've joined. We've had a Christmas in every different location for 6 years or longer, I guess, and. So yeah, they've joined us here and there on the rally, and then on different places where we're sailing. So it's been good.
So how many countries have you visited during that time? Do you know how many yet? But you are keeping a journal, right?
Yeah, probably 40 or 50. I mean, we've sailed since 2019. We've sailed about 75,000 miles. 5 times across the Atlantic and once across the Pacific, and so we've really sailed a lot.
Wow, you have covered so much.
Yeah, at least on the equator. Yeah. Now there's an awful lot of interesting spots in the far north or the far south, and so that's now becoming intriguing. Is the places we have.
These are the next places to explore.
Yeah.
So where was your standout places when you think now of your journey? What places, or where do you think, wow, that was just incredible too?
I think we have a few kind of stock answers on that. City-wise, we loved Cartagena.
Cartagena is beautiful.
Yeah.
Very colorful place.
Yeah,
very
it was
colorful.
Lovely. And Cape Town. We sailed into Cape Town, and that was a great experience, and we loved it there. It was fantastic. Island-wise, we loved Fiji. Fiji was just beautiful, and we dived, so we had amazing diving. And then one great experience we had was the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Do you remember that? So that was filmed in Fiji.
Okay.
So we anchored outside that island, and we could jump off the boat and swim to the beach. And we had friends that had never seen the movie, and we have the ability to put a movie screen on the back of our deck. And so we played Castaway at the Castaway Island in Fiji, and we had a really fun experience doing that. So it's just special moments like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you have created so many incredible memories.
Yeah, so many. Yeah.
And your plan is to continue, right? With the boat. You're not quite ready yet to.
No. Not yet.
No, I mean it's sailing is a metaphor for freedom, and I think this is why it's on the cover of every retirement brochure. Is there's always a picture of a sailboat and a couple, and for good reason, right? So when you actually get into this life and you get your boat and learn and all the things, then suddenly you're in a position where you can just do whatever you can think of. This summer we sailed right into downtown Venice
incredible.
to St. Mark's Square. We just said, we were like, I wonder if we can sail right to the square, and we did. Yeah. Like you could have got off the boat and walked into.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Venice was a sort of unexpectedly cool spot to.
It's amazing.
To be, we saw it from a whole. We'd been to Venice many times, but never like that. And so that was. Anyway, that's the point, is that there's all these places that if you can think of it, Like even now, we're talking about somebody in Oyster sent around a message this week saying, do you want to sail to Svalbard, which is the most northerly city in the world, at 78 degrees north, which is only 12 degrees from the pole.
Wow.
And we're like, wow, that sounds pretty interesting. Let's do that, you know? So
that's in 2027. So so that's our new.
So this might be your next step. And while you've been doing this, you've continued to run a business in the US, right?
Well, I mean, after I retired, I you know, I'm like a lot of people, you think of yourself as knowing something, which may or may not be true. and
you've mastered something, hopefully, if you've spent 40 years.
And then, you know, you get tempted to make, you know, investments in different things, and then you learn how much you don't know. But we had made a few investments like that ultimately, the roles expanded a little bit more than we were bargaining for. So I did end up spending some time. No, I still. But
you seem, I find is you seem to integrate it very well. Yeah. It never seems to stress you. You always seem to be quite relaxed and somehow manage all the different things. Maybe behind the scenes it's different.
Well, and Starlink is a game changer.
Communications are good. I mean, we've learned a bit about stress over the years. So we have our fingers in a few pies in the U.S. still, and probably will for some time. And really, we have some life there too, lots of friends and that. So we're not fully out.
So disconnected from it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this time last year. I had the pleasure to meet you, and we started a journey. I normally am more behind the scenes, but I think we had a really good connection when we talked initially about your plans to move to Mallorca. And even now, I find it a great kind of honor for the island that you having visited 40 or 50 different countries around the world, that you decided Mallorca is your place. Yeah. So why is that? Why did you choose Mallorca?
I think it offers so many things that we're interested in, for sailing for one, and cycling another, which we love to do and used to do. Getting back.
I will be very soon again, hopefully.
And hiking, and it's just a great city, and the people are just so lovely, and it's just every village is different, and just offers so many different things on this island that you just don't find anywhere else, you know. So we keep coming back to that as where would you like to live? And it always.
And I thought it was very interesting when we spoke initially, and you were saying after this big experience of what you've had over the last 5-6 years, you felt you couldn't go back to your old life.
Yeah.
Well, why was that?
Well, we almost did. We were looking at real estate there, and then we just thought, it felt like it wasn't, it was going a bit backwards, you know, not that we love our friends, but it was like, we needed to keep challenging ourselves still and do something new. And so we thought, no, let's go back to the plan of Mallorca. So, it just appealed to us after sailing all this time. It's really hard to go back to before, you know?
Yeah.
So
you felt you wanted to open a new chapter rather than kind of start reliving another.
Yeah, definitely.
Great.
Plus the sailing here is spectacular. So there's a lot that we haven't seen in the Med, even though we've seen a tremendous amount. There's more obscure places that need to be seen still. But
you had because at that moment when we spoke about what you were thinking of for Mallorca, for your life in Mallorca, you felt, well, you have your boat in Palma, so probably we're more drawn to live in the mountains, right, in the countryside.
Yeah.
And then we set about finding you some beautiful place to live.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that journey. What was your impression of what the places you saw? And
well, I think initially too, which I think you helped hugely in helping us do this, was we had looked, I don't know, at hundreds of homes online, and then I think we sent you 30 to look at, and then you guys narrowed it down to 15 or something because you had so much knowledge on the island that we didn't even consider. So it was so helpful that you were like, this area is not good in the summer. You know, you had all these things. So that was great for us. And then we went to look, and then I think initially too, we thought, oh, we want land. We want this house, a finca in the country.
And it was a process,
it
right?
was a process
for yourselves that you kind of looking and then thinking, oh, do I want this?
Yeah.
So there was 1 or 2 places that you found with a lot of land.
Yes.
But why did you opt not to go for that in the end?
I think because, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think, you know, the great part of your business, and obviously this is why it works so well, is that you can come to Palma as a tourist or on a sailboat and you get a tiny snapshot of what the island's like. You see the airport, which is, by the way, spectacular, and the sailing community in the city, and you drive to Dea, do the tourist things, but you don't really know anything. And we quite quickly felt that feeling. We didn't know what we didn't know. And I think in sailing you learn very quickly there's no pretense in sailing. And we took the same approach with you. We don't know what we don't know, and what we don't know could bite us in this case. And so when we came across your business, we thought, wow, this is what we need. Someone who really actually understands what it is to live here as opposed to be a tourist, which is, everyone knows Mallorca from a tourist perspective, but much fewer people know about it and all the nuances. I remember one of our first conversations, you were like, that home is lovely, but in the winter, you'll never see the sun. Or this place is nice, but it's an hour and a half from the city. You'll never go there. Or this place is nice, but the restaurants are closed in the winter. Or, you know, and then you talk to us about the demographic that was there, and that's all people who are, 20 or 100 or whatever, And so it became very clear to us that it was in fact true. We really didn't know what we didn't know. And then because we live on the ocean, we didn't need an oceanfront property, of which there are many beautiful properties. So that's why we were drawn to the center of the island or the mountains particularly. And then you started to help us understand, I think with a lot of patience, that, okay, this is pretty, but it can't work for you for, these reasons. And we're like, oh, okay, that's. So that journey was really useful and demonstrative for us as to how to better make the decision. It was a process.
And we had a lot of fun in the process.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Because normally I'm in the office, I'm kind of not allowed out. And I was like, no, I'm going with these lads. They seem like really good fun. And we had so much fun because you're into cycling, of course. I could tell you a lot of the routes and where we go. And you were very curious to learn as much as possible. And also I think in each place we were kind of really going through the advantages and disadvantages of each location, right?
Yeah.
And I think in a very kind of honest way. And maybe that's the point. I think that when you're going through a process of transitioning to a new place, you need a sounding board, but somebody who has your back.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not trying to pull you in one direction or another direction, right?
Yeah, we never felt that at all with you guys. You were just very generous
kind of
and
neutral.
Yes.
And one of the things that we didn't know, which was very interesting to know, is that when you look first at property in Mallorca, you see these beautiful homes, spectacular homes, many, many of them.
Beautiful.
All different sizes and shapes and ranges, whatever. And I think a lot of people like us fall in love with the finca idea, a farmhouse.
Land, we're thinking off the boat, we'll have all this space.
Looks like a stone house, but modern on the inside, right? So you have this look of but then what you figure out, and with your help, was how it's zoned and how the rural zoning requires this gigantic piece of land, 1% coverage or whatever it is. So suddenly you think, oh, well, if I want a 5,000 square foot home, 500 meter home, you need, 500,000 square feet of land, which is a farm.
Yeah.
and suddenly it's like, wow, are we going to chin ourselves up to being farmers now?
Yeah.
Or are we going to go sailing? And
Yeah.
so when you explained that to us, we were like, okay, actually, this is a consideration. So we saw these great houses, but then you kind of have to, and maybe that's fine. But for us, we won't be in this house every
But I think
day.
it became very clear for you, you didn't want to be a slave to the house, right?
Yeah.
And we've done that before,
Yeah.
actually. We'd made that sort of decision. So we were like, yeah.
Yeah. And it is a bit of you have to be very honest with yourself.
You do.
Because I know there was moments when we saw beautiful properties. I remember one on the edge of Alaró, and the view was spectacular. And then you were like, this has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But then I think in hindsight you thought, maybe not. It's too much of a.
Well, and I think one of them needed some work inside, and then to try to manage all of that from not knowing anything how to do that was overwhelming. So I think that's a whole nother thing.
And then I think there was another home, if I'm not mistaken, which was absolutely beautiful with beautiful views. But then the accessibility wasn't so easy. Do you remember there was
The
one,
road, yeah.
And that was
To
another.
say the least. You had to be a billy goat to
get up there.
It was a beautiful home, but
Beautiful.
it was
Great home.
but we're thinking getting on our bike back home would have been
And then I think the other thing that became very important for you was the community aspect. Right?
Yeah.
You're sociable people.
Yeah.
You like to be surrounded by like-minded people, fun people.
Yeah.
And so the community aspect for your choice of where you wanted to be was an important factor.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I think wasn't maybe initially the primary.
Yeah.
But then it became.
Yeah, as you start processing all these properties and thoughts, then it kind of narrows it down. Like, no, what do we really want? And
For our
or
lifestyle.
for now. Yeah. So
I would love to ask you to do a favor for me. Mallorca Living is a video podcast dedicated to those who are dreaming of making a life for themselves here on Mallorca. This is a very personal project for me where I get to share with you wonderful stories about people who have actually made the transition to Mallorca. I would love to ask you to subscribe to this channel because it helps the channel grow and it makes sure that we continue to grow and prosper and reach as many people as possible who are interested in making Mallorca their home. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking and sharing your comments. We love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. Thank you so much. So the final decision was this beautiful house in the middle of Alaró.
Yep.
Yes.
In the village.
In the village. So talk us through that. How did Alaró become your choice, let's say?
Well, along the process you described, we started to, I think, say to you, it would be really nice to have a finca, but we'd like to be able to walk into town.
Yes.
And you were like, well, those two things may or may not coexist, and the further we went in, the more we looked at homes that were closer and closer to the town, and or different towns, and it just so happened. And then you showed us this fantastic Canfalco home by Francois over at the Quartz and Clacker group, and that actually was the first time we saw the fit and finish of a home that frankly we were more used to, and also on the boating world, the fit and finish of the woodwork and the workmanship is spectacularly good. And some of the homes we'd seen, although they were great, they didn't always have the fit and finish that we
But they did have a very high price tag.
But they had a high yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just to be, because that's the difference, right?
That's the difference.
Yeah.
You didn't have a problem to pay for the craftsmanship and
Yeah.
the quality,
Right. Yeah.
but that was one of your requirements.
Yeah.
So you saw immediately the difference. And I think we were also very enthusiastic about this property developer, because through seeing many homes on the island, we have also figured out that what they're offering is a whole other level.
Yeah.
Actually,
Different level, yeah.
different level. They build homes as if they're for themselves rather than to sell, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And very creative, right? Like they've got very unique touches that make it nice, because it's not just cookie cutter. And even though it's new, they've added these beautiful special things to it.
And fully finished. So they also furnish these homes and with a style that is fitting for the island and the location. So it becomes that one that we had seen had so many things that we loved, and we also really loved Francois and his wife Jess, and they were very warm and inviting and helpful.
Yeah,
and
because you, in the end, you are somebody who's very detailed orientated, and which is great, because you know what you want actually, because you've owned a lot of homes in your lifetime, which was great. But he seemed very accommodating. Everything.
He was amazing. Yeah, they both were amazing.
When we went back to him and said we love Can Falco, and it has proximity to the town and has beautiful views, all the things.
Yeah.
But it's we don't need whatever it was, 6,000 square feet or 600 square meters for the two of us. What else are you building? And then he said, well, we do have another place just down the street, which wasn't
on the market, actually.
No, not even on the
it was
market,
sort of being built and refurbished, but not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Well,
we were still able to make some decisions, which was,
You had raved about Francois and the team on multiple occasions before that, and we'd sort of hit it off with those guys. And then he said, well, I do have this place that's under construction. You can come and walk through the construction site if you want. And then, of course, when we did that, we were like, this is...
Yeah.
That was during the Alaró market, right? On the Saturday, which is also a kind of a highlight. So I think it wasn't only the house that captivated you, it was the whole feeling of Alaró and the community there.
And so many fantastic community members there. The little restaurants that are there, that now the two Dutch sisters who run what was Can Fresse, now Cis Cafe, and then there's Trastero, which is an Argentinian family, and so there's all this culture from all around the world have come to this spot to set up shop and be part of the community. So it's so interesting, and everyone is very accommodating with our limited Spanish skill,
which is our new challenge.
So it's been fun in that way.
And a lot of yachties there, so we have a lot in common with a lot of the people who are living there.
There is I remember I've told you this a few times, that's how Alaró, I think, became popular with the international community, because it became a hub for the families of captains from yachts. So they didn't choose to live in Palma. They actually based their family in Alaró. And it just grew from there. And I think that's why you have this lovely integration of an international and local community. And the local community seemed very open, very welcoming, as you say.
I don't know how the Spanish people who live there for 50 years feel about all the people who moved in. I think for some of them it's been very good. Their businesses are probably thriving. For others, maybe they feel like there's a lot of foreign people in their town. But we've never felt that. The people are all very kind, and there is a lot going on in that little town. When you look at it from the outside, you don't necessarily see it, but there's a terrific bike shop, and there's 5 or 6 great cafes, and 10 probably good restaurants, some of them world class. And so
And you have the hiking and the
the
cycling. I mean,
hiking,
it's
right.
really like a capital for hiking and
It
cycling.
is.
It is.
It really
you
is,
can walk
yeah.
out our door and go for a hike right up to the
Yeah.
lamb restaurant, right? And then it's close to the airport. And it's close to Palma, and we're close to our boat, so it's
and also the north of the island.
Yeah.
So
And the north.
you are really, if you want to go to some of the beaches in the north, which
Yeah.
is like Playa de Moro
Yeah.
and Alcudia, any of these, they're just as close to you as
That's right.
as Palma.
no, it's a
Yeah.
great, really good location. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's very central.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's one of the few towns, like we talked about, that's on the end of the road. So some of the towns that are also beautiful, Santa Maria, Benisalam, the main road tends to go through the town. And so it's been developed in that way, which isn't bad. But in Alaró, you drive into the town and then it ends.
Yeah.
And it's a dead end. And then you get out of your car and walk into the square. And that's a bit unique on the island. And so the square and how it's been developed around there, and the restaurants and shops and stuff that are there, and the markets are all kind of designed around that theme. And so it makes it really fun, so the Saturday market there, everyone goes. It's a mandatory attendance to kind of get your chicken and your coffee and your flowers for the week and your fresh veggies.
And it has a really sense of community.
Yeah.
Really strong.
Yeah.
You can't go down there without running into people, that's impossible. Then you go up to Sis Cafe for brunch afterwards, and we're finding the program to be very easy to understand. Yeah, it's good. So it's been a great choice.
Why I would like to ask you, just for our listeners, from the service, because you decided to opt for a property buyers agency service, and many people still don't really understand what that service is, although in North America, for example, it's the standard model. What did you find has been the most useful part or most beneficial part of the service for you during the process?
Yeah, I like your model a lot. We were chatting about it earlier. I think that whereas if you go to LA, say, and you want to buy a house, then the person there will show you houses. But here, we actually needed quite a bit more than that, because we weren't even really sure. We thought we were going to buy a place here, but we could have moved to Italy or Sardinia or Portugal or the UK or anywhere. We really had zero
affiliation
constraint at this stage, right?
And but I also think once we decided not to be in Palma, because that was a decision we could have easily just spent in the city, but because we had the boat close by, we thought, well, we should branch out. So that is, for us, that's where your service was so helpful, because all the different, every house we kind of sent you was in a different place. So,
and the other thing was, I suppose I remember one viewing day, we viewed about 6 properties, but they were actually with, I think, 6 different real estate agents, right?
Yeah.
So this was a seamless experience for you. But if you tried to coordinate all of that yourself, it would have been quite a challenge.
And we didn't know, as Judy says, one vision was to get a place right in Palma. One of those fantastic redone 5-story, I thought would be very fun, and live right in the city and have all the restaurants and shops there. But then you sort of realize too, there's some downsides to that. You can't get your car in there, really. It's impossible. And it can be quite noisy and crowded in the summer, which is fantastic, but you might not want to choose that, And so there was a lot, with you, we looked at 6 or 7 condos in the city, and they were spectacular. But, you just have to go in with your eyes open, or there was no parking. So you had to think of, the parking thing is complex, especially if you're lugging sailing stuff around. So for us, your service, I like the business model in that it's, I don't know how, I'm not speaking for the sellers of homes, but for the buyers of homes, which is what you do, it's risk-free. You don't know if we're going to buy a home, or if we're able or can find one, or even will commit to Mallorca. So there's some risk there for you. You have to be a good judge of character. But for us, it allowed us to tap into your experience and your company and your brain and extract all this 25 years of value. And also you've made a real science of categorizing all these things, like where to eat in Mallorca. Okay, well, go to Helen's page because there's 500 fantastic restaurants. So, or if you want a great beach, here's the best ones, or if you want a whatever. So you haven't just hung out here for 25 years, you've put it into categories. So any questions that we had, you were able to answer, and that helped us shape our view of how to think about how our life would be. Even your interest in cycling was very interesting to us because we think we'll spend a lot of time doing that. So suddenly it was like, okay, well, here's the places, and here's the cafes where cyclists go, and here's the roads that we all use. And so for us, it was much more than what a typical, real estate relationship would have been. So very high value for us. So when we started, you were coming, sitting on our boat, and we knew nothing. And a month later, we were signing, we were writing a contract in a townhouse in a village in the middle of the island.
Which was not at all your initial thought.
Yeah, it was not anywhere close to the initial vision.
And I think your assistance in legal and, all those things that we also needed help.
That's what I wanted to get on to now, because finding the property is one thing, and then, it's a big process behind.
Yes.
Right? Actually, it's almost like the easy part is finding the property, right? And then fixing your heart on that and saying, okay, but when you have a lot, then the fun starts with, the option contract and your knee number and all the different. Do you want to tell us about that a little bit? Because I'd love to hear from the, an American perspective, because of course the bureaucracy, Spain is very famous for its bureaucracy.
I would recommend patience.
Patience is a word that comes up time and time again on this podcast.
It is very different than buying in the US, let's say. So
and I think that works for and against people who come here. I think in the US, it's very simple, really. You can make a deal and close in a few weeks. And all the title aspects and mortgages, if you want that or whatever, is all quite well understood. And here it all seems like it's being done for the first time. A little bit.
I love that.
Which is so shocking.
But I think too, one thing, not to interrupt, but our house was a new build, which is a different situation than a house that's not a new build. So it has a little more complex.
And you found it before, during the process of the renovation. It wasn't completed.
Yeah, it wasn't completed.
Yeah.
So you had to be very patient. But I always remember about the visa situation, which unfortunately was just ending at the moment. But then
he wasn't going to give up, and
rightly so. But you're told a lot of times here, no.
Yeah,
right?
First thing is no.
And Trevor was like, I don't buy that.
Well, it was sort of humorous in a way, because we knew to do this thing, and because of our situation, and still residents and taxpayers of the U.S. So you have to go through. We did want to get our golden visa. We do have a visa associated with our boat life. We did want to tap into a Spanish mortgage because the cost of capital is very low and very compelling. So we didn't have to probably do all those things, but we wanted to maximize the benefit.
Of course.
And so the administrative part was complex. Even with the seller of the property, we made the decision to not so much fight on the price, but we gave him a gigantic list of things we wanted included, because we just didn't want to deal with the brain damage of figuring all that stuff out after the fact. So we said, okay, well, we'll meet your price, but here's 100 things that need to be in the house when it's finished.
But small things,
Small
but
things.
because you knew what you want,
Yeah.
which is great.
And he was great. They were great.
They said even they learned a lot, that now in the future they would
Yeah.
add those things
I know
into their...
some of them are standards now.
Yeah, which is great.
So that they were fantastic about that, and I think you could have ground them down on price or whatever, but instead we did it that way, and that helped us a lot in that the place was really finished in a good way. And then with your team, we marched through all these different things, and with your recommendations on lawyers and accountants, finally, and banks, and then got in front of and ultimately built a relatively complex structure.
But you really did a great great deal.
Yeah, we did. We had time. The house was
It's your persistence, though. And
no, I would have given up. He was not going to give up.
Yeah,
like the last day, we were like done.
Yeah, we did get our golden visas, and we did.
Yes, you did. Congratulations.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think Beatrice, we helped you a lot.
Beatrice
our
was great.
Consultant helped a lot.
She was terrific, and I think we pushed her to her limit, like everyone else. I think the bank is, even today, I think the bank is finally tired of hearing from me every single day, with my shiny good morning note.
Yeah, but Trevor, what's great about you is you're always nice and you're always patient. So you never get upset. You never seem to get angry, but you're just persistent.
Yeah,
I'm
very
going to get
persistent.
there.
And I think we've just learned to, like, the first thing, like you said, they'll say no. So then you'll say, okay, and then you'll listen to it. And then they always come to, well, maybe we can work something. You know what I mean? So you have to just learn. It's just sort of a Spanish way, right?
Yes.
So we've learned that.
It is actually a cultural thing. It's like a test. They kind of just say no, and then if you say, oh yeah, but I have this, then and at some point they suddenly flip over, and then they'll do anything in their power to help you. And so it's just something to get used to.
Yeah.
So do you feel you're much more knowledgeable now, having done this transaction?
Well, yeah, and also I think if you, I could probably coach people through this now and have save them a bit of brain.
Maybe
brain
we
damage.
can set up Trevor's consultancy service.
Seriously.
It'll be an add-on to the Helen Cummins Property Buyers Agency, right?
Totally, and it's very, now it's totally worth it to have suffered through it, because now we're in all these categories. We're in a fantastic situation, right? And so, we have a great house with a great relationship with our contractor, and you and the lawyers and accountants and the banks and the visa stuff, it's all very good now. And it took, arguably a year to get through it. But now we're in a terrific, enviable position, I think.
Yeah.
And so,
and if I can say that the deal that you negotiated from the whole lending perspective and so on, it was phenomenal. I mean, it's really, so the point for me was if you really want it, it's possible. But you'll be told no many times, right?
Yeah.
But you'll find a way if you keep persisting.
Yep.
Right.
And just, and then don't give up. It will happen.
These banking people are incredible here, to be honest, and it's different because the amount of attention we ended up. Not that we're craving attention, but we have met with the senior people in these banks on a dozen occasions, probably. They bring you in and we have coffee, and we set up all these various structures, and in the end, they're lovely, beautiful people, really willing to help. It doesn't seem like the path for them is very clear either. So I think that we're kind of working through it together in a sense. And so, like you say, in the end, we got to a place that was, good for everybody, which was a little bit surprising.
Well, I think what you negotiated and put together was phenomenal. It was incredible. it just wouldn't make any sense that you would use your own capital
No.
to buy a property when you can have a structure like what you've done. And so the point for listeners, I suppose, is that everything is actually possible. You just need to negotiate, and you need to
be persistent.
From
him.
And find the way. And just if people say no, then you say, well, how about we do it this way, or we look at this option, or no?
Yeah, no, there's complexity here with wealth taxes and other taxes, and this, what we ended up structuring with, we ended up with a mortgage, but also a relationship with a private wealth group out of Luxembourg, which is an affiliate bank to CaixaBank. And they set that bank up for a very specific reason, which is to deal with people like us. And so we have two very powerful banking relationships that emerged out of CaixaBank with the offshore aspects we were looking for, and the onshore mortgage structure that leverages their capital. Couldn't be better, really, in the context of structure for our needs. So, and it's quite good now. It's compared. We have this similar structures in the U.S., but it took some time to weave our way. But quite.
But I love to share this with listeners because, of course, when you're a foreigner coming into a new country, you don't speak the language, you can be very apprehensive and maybe fall at the first fence when somebody says, oh no, that's not possible here. But your story is actually inspiring because everything is possible. You just need to find the route. Yeah. And even like with your golden visa, you got it. Everybody told you wouldn't get it. Yeah. And you did get it. Yeah. So it's just the point that if you want, you can actually get everything here.
And I think for us too, we had the ability to be patient because we live on our boat. So we were not in any rush, right? So we had time to work through all of it.
But many people are similar because usually when somebody's buying a home in Mallorca, it's not that it will be their primary residence. So they generally have time. And probably we've actually moved an American family at the beginning of this year from LA because their house burnt down in the fire in LA. But they were, without knee numbers or anything, they bought a house here and they were living in it within 2 weeks.
Wow.
So that was phenomenal. Yeah. They got everything organized, everything done, and made it happen in 2 weeks. So that's also possible where people would tell you, oh, no, you need 6 months, whatever. Yeah. It is possible when you know the right approach and the right people that's going to be able to make it happen. But I think it's great for listeners to hear that there is this flexibility, there is these possibilities. You just need to find the road through.
Yeah, definitely true. And in the end, you kind of forget about the bit of complexity along the way. Like already it's blurring.
Because you're enjoying your home. And Trevor put in this beautiful wine cellar in your house. So now you're in the process of filling it with beautiful Spanish wine, right?
Exactly.
Only Mallorcan wine.
and this is helping you forget the pain, right?
Within 5 kilometers of our house, there's 10 world-class wineries. And another thing we didn't really know was that families have come from all over, Swedes and Germans and others, to build these great wineries in our little triangle of cities or towns. And so and these wines don't get out into the world.
No, so there's too small a production.
So. But they're right there. We can walk to them. So we've discovered these fantastic, and eventually we'll meet the people who run them and own them. And
so you've decided to fill your wine cellar with local wine.
Yes, we have this fantastic wine cellar that Francois and his team made for us as one of our on our list, and it's And
Well,
it's
your
a,
home
perfect,
is
yeah.
beautiful. I mean,
you, yeah.
what I love about your home is that I think you can have a quality of life living in that house that's exceptional.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Would you agree? Without becoming a slave to your house.
Oh,
It
yeah,
just seems
no.
so easy. But
Yeah.
you have many little rincones, like little
yeah.
corners
Yeah.
that you can, no?
Yeah.
Do have it for different
Yeah.
possibilities.
No, it's truly checked every box, really. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. No, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we finish, I want to ask you some of our quickfire questions, which we always like to do. So, beach or mountain? Or both?
Oh. Well, beach on the boat and mountain in the house.
Okay, best of both worlds. Sunrise or sunset?
Oh.
Well, our place is uniquely good for sunset.
Okay.
Sunsets over the local mountain
Beautiful.
on our pool deck. Perfect.
Super. Summer heat or winter calm?
I'll let you take that one.
I don't know. Again, summer heat on the boat, winter calm in the house.
In the house. Siesta or fiesta?
Oh.
I think you're more
Fiesta.
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 I think you're more fiesta. Pamboli or ensamada? Have you tried both of these?
No.
So pamboli is savory, and ensamada is this one, which looks like
Oh,
a
yeah,
squid.
yeah.
With you're probably more pamboli, I
Yeah,
think.
Yeah, probably savory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And North Coast or South Coast?
We rented a house in Alcudia and turned out it's fantastic up there. Great beaches and beautiful. And it was good in the
beach,
winter. So I would say both are
can't go wrong.
Are great. Yeah, you can't go wrong. And we've our voyage of discovering the island and all the beaches and all the bicycle routes is just starting. So
Yes.
much to discover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I hope I'll have the honor to be able to take you
Yeah.
out on some
Yeah.
of these cycling
Wow,
routes.
we're
Looking
we're
at bikes
counting on it.
yesterday, so we're
Good.
getting yeah.
You're nearly there
We're
now. with
getting
your
there.
bike.
Yeah.
So next week, our first outing, right?
Okay.
And I'll show you the real Mallorca.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
look forward to that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, many years of joy and happiness in Mallorca. Thank you for choosing the island. I think the island is all the better for attracting people like yourselves, and I'm sure we're going to have many good times
Yes.
to look forward to in the
I know
future.
that's true.
Yes.
And thank you
Yes,
for
thank you.
holding our hand through the whole
Yeah,
process.
made it happen. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a pleasure because honestly, when people are so grateful and such a joy to work with and always very nice, that's the joy actually for us. So thank you.
Yeah. And Lucy.
And
Yeah.
Lucy is
Lucy was
amazing,
amazing. Yeah,
support. Yeah. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Good. Yeah. Thank
Lucy
you.
was terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
If you're dreaming of making Mallorca your home, let me invite you to use our property buyers agency service. With our service and our help, we can guide you to the right location that fits with your lifestyle. We'll also help you find the perfect home that fits with your dream. Contact us today for an online consultation or book an appointment and come and see us in Palma. We would love to help you make your transition to Mallorca a reality.